Is it safe to have interracial relationships in Trump's version of America? Guys, I'm G. Subscribe to my channel and let's get into this.
Upon waking up and furthering my investigation, I've come to the conclusion that in the club, we are all definitely not fam.
I think it's time that we definitely say that Black women are not the most race loyal. White women have proven that they are the most race loyal, because in the most recent election where Trump actually took I'm having a hard time with this. Trump is president-elect, and he obviously has a war on women. And that war on women is actually exposing to a lot of us how men actually feel. Not just men, particularly white men. 60% of white people voted for Trump. 60%. Overwhelming majority of white people voted for Trump. Overwhelmingly white men voted for Trump, and just a small percentage less of white women voted for Trump. And that has now reared the ugly head of things that look like this.
Black women listen for the next 4 years. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. Don't save them. Go ahead and get your chance. Don't save
their social experience where women talked about they choose the bear. A lot of women, when they had that same scenario, saying a white man or a white woman in the workplace, Black women chose the white man over the white woman because of the level of microaggressions they more than often experience from dealing with white women out in the wild. And a lot of times we don't have friends that are necessarily interracial. But what we also saw from this election is how many Latino people are not on the side of the brown. When I started talking on social media, on YouTube, about being in an interracial relationship, a lot of people came back was like, there's a lot of different races. Why would you choose a white guy? Women in my comments were like, I would never date a white guy. My husband's Latino. I would never date a white. My husband's Arab. My husband is, something other than white. And what we have seen from the male perspective, that they will align with white supremacy regardless. Only 20% of the Black men who voted for Trump. Overwhelmingly, Black men came out and supported Kamala Harris. And I want to applaud them. They were definitely on the right side of history, and they are actually showing in their vote an overwhelming interest. It might be self-interest, but it was an interest in protection of the community, because Trump's new police immunity affects them heavily. And that in and of itself, they did not align with what supremacy told them to align with. Only 20%, and we can't save everybody. In this situation where the first time a woman, a Black woman, might have come to what is the ultimate power in the United States, right? And where men would align did not protect women. So this idea that white American men are the great protectors is not true. Latino men are not the great protectors that so many people have made them out to be. It's just not true. Because when it came down to protecting women in general from a man who has promised to do harm to women, who's already done harm to women, who is a convicted felon, who is a rapist, who put a rapist in the Supreme Court, they didn't show up for us. They didn't show up for any woman. Lead the question, are they safe to date? Because you might say, well, yeah, mine is liberal, mine is this, mine is that. They didn't do enough. They didn't do enough over the past 8 years to recognize the threat to women, to the women in their lives, to do something. So can we still call them the great protectors? of white supremacy, of male dominance, definitely. Definitely protecting that. But are they safe now? I don't know if anybody knows this, but in Tennessee, they are actually banned interracial marriage in Tennessee. Very red state. And we saw how much red there was across the fucking country. So if you think that's just one state, these kind of laws are about to start being rolled out across the entire country for the next 4 years and maybe beyond, because we don't know if Donald Trump will leave office in 4 years. Let's be honest. And regardless of whether he does or doesn't, the damage that he's doing to the social structure in the United States is making particularly women unsafe. So should you risk dating out at this point in time in Trump's America? Should you risk putting yourself in situations not only around a guy who might be in that or 40% that did not vote for Donald Trump, but that 40% is weak and not strong enough to fight against that other percentage, because nothing has happened so far. I swear to God, if this was France, they would have burned the entire country down by now. Like, there is just no way. The sense of justice, they would just, I remember talking to some friends when Marie Le Pen was like still somewhat relevant, and they were just like, no, I'll burn everything. They literally were like, no, not gonna happen. We will burn this place down. We will ride at dawn. And there's not that type of mentality in that social structure outside of Black folks in the United States. So what it's proven, however, is that there are no safe spaces in white spaces for Black people. There are very few safe spaces in Latino spaces for Black people. So would you put yourself in those situations, in those spaces, with people who mean you harm? Hell, the white people mean the Latino people harm. They just didn't know it. They didn't know that. I'm loving seeing them getting deported right now. It's already starting to happen. If I were single American in the United States right now, if I was a single woman in the United States right now, there is no way I would date any man. I think that all women, particularly Black women, should turn to themselves and leave the rest of it to them. Focus on you, build your money up, do what you have to do, because I would not, in this world, date any man whatsoever, because they have proven they're not safe. No, we can have our own personal relationships with people. We cannot be in the spaces. We cannot be anywhere near these places that are now going to be allowed immunity to do whatever it is that they want to do to any of us, especially women. So let me tell you what I think from my perspective, from the idea of dating any man right now. I wouldn't do it. I would not date out. I would not date any man, because the only way to get other men to fight against the men who mean you harm is to cut off access. I hate to say it, boys. If you boys are not a part of the supremacy groups, I hate to say it, women need to protect themselves at all costs, because we already know there are no good guys. We already know how many men will lie. There are literally men right now, MAGA men on the internet, who are saying, I'm just gonna lie and say this, that, and the other because I want to bang liberal women. They want to do what they feel like they can do to degrade women who want to protect themselves. And yeah, rape is on the table. And it seems that so many men are looking forward to the idea of being able to sexually assault women with little to no immunity. I bet Diddy gets out. I bet Diddy gets pardoned. I mean, that seems very likely. He could pay to get out. That's the type of president you guys are going to have. And I guess I have, but I'm just not there. If you are a woman and you are especially a woman of color, I don't care if you're Latina, Asian, blah, blah, blah. If you are a woman and you are with a man who voted for Donald Trump, you're in danger, girl. You are in danger. He is not there to protect you. He is there to protect himself, what he thinks manhood is, and supremacy culture. And somehow you got fooled to believe that he is a protector of you. He hates you. That is what America has proven in an overwhelming voice, is that they hate women. Men in America hate women, generally speaking, and I wouldn't let any of them touch me. Never, ever. Not until something changed drastically in the societal structure to make things different. The scary thing is, now that you guys have this president, the laws to limit women are, well, very, very much on the table. Women's rights to vote potentially is gone. He got the Senate too, guys. Do you know that? He got the Senate. That means he's going to have a lot of power. We don't know what's happening in the lower house yet, but let's assume that people were universally stupid and everything is going to be red. People are going to get arrested. The politicians that you actually like are not going to be there anymore. They're going to go to jail. And I don't see how anybody who ever has a relationship with anybody outside of Black women, and I'm going to go ahead and just say Black people, because Black men, at least they tried. At least they showed up and they tried. The ones, I will give it in a general sense, because I think it was like 71% of Black men showed up and voted for Kamala Harris. And that 30%, 28, 29% who wants stop and frisk to come back, who wants to be, marginalized, who are looking forward to the times that they get to pick cotton, they're going to get what they want. They're going to get what they deserve. They're going to get what they ask for. So when you start looking at the overwhelming majority of the United States right now, I wouldn't let anybody touch me from any perspective. White women are not safe. If you have white women friends who are making you friendship bracelets and not actually about to go out and protest, they're not out actually trying to do something that would change anything about the fabric of what's happening, because 40% or so of white people who did not want Donald Trump, if all they can do is make a friendship bracelet to tell you that they are a safe space, that's not for you. That's for them to feel better about what's happened. If they are not doing what Black women often do, which is organize, start marches, start actually trying to make a difference, because white people can actually influence far more than we can, right? They need to talk to Joe Biden. They should be marching on the Capitol right now, telling Joe Biden to use some of the laws that Trump put in place to protect himself. Joe Biden has immunity as a president. He has full immunity to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. He could throw them all in jail for shits and giggles. Donald Trump would do it. And I'm so sick of this idea that everyone has to cope and deal, and if that doesn't happen, I wouldn't date anybody. I wouldn't date a man. No. Definitely not a white woman. But I wouldn't fuck with any of them. I would not. This would be the ends of my relationships. Because if you look at 100 people in your office, wherever you work, 100 white people in your office, 50 of them, at least 50, 55, voted for Trump. They've been keeping it secret. And they've been lying to your faces. They are not your friends. And I don't want to sound hateful. My partner is Italian. He is a white man. He is not American. However, American colonizers, I have not dated any of their descendants. And that, I don't know if it's been conscious, but I've always attracted foreign men. So that might be just something that happened, and maybe my ancestors were keeping me away from this bullshit because they knew. Even though I've been gone for a few minutes, they knew some shit was coming down. I left during Obama's last term. So yeah, maybe they knew, because when Trump took office the first time, I couldn't believe it. It felt like a joke, and then we got through it. But this time, some shit's gonna go down, because this time they don't plan on giving you anything back. Any life that you used to have, they don't plan on giving you back. And that is exactly why, if you are in an interracial relationship, that's potentially going to change. They can annul your marriages. Right? It's going to be interesting. So for me, I would stay away from men, period. Ladies, don't do it anymore. Literally, don't go to clubs anymore. Don't go to places where they use women to attract men. Find taco parties to go to. Keep them secret, because I can guarantee you that men will try and ruin anything that women try to do to support each other, for themselves, period. And I would just find myself a community of Black women that I can trust and believe in. It's very safe to say we know where our safe space is. And I would not necessarily feel safe in a country around white men right now, around white women right now. And there is nothing they could do short of themselves on the line, fighting for the rights of everyone else and fighting against their stupid counterparts. That's all they can do. I don't want to see a friendship bracelet. Don't. You got to be kidding me. I think that Black women, now that we have seen the realities, we need to do what we need to do for ourselves. No more helping. No more being the people that show up for everyone, protest, whatever. Because when you look down that line of who voted for who, that's probably Arab people. And they want you on the front lines for Palestine. There were so many people saying for Black people to tell the line about Palestine, to say, you know what, we want, the Democrats to do this. Trump's already said to bomb the hell out of them. And they voted for him. They wanted us to vote against our own best interest for whatever reason, because they want us to have the same outcomes that they voted for. It's laughable. So guys, no, I would not find it safe right now in the United States to date interracially, and I would consider not dating at all. So guys, I don't know, tell me what you think in the comments. I look forward to talking to you right now, but I just think, you know what, it's time to not date. It's time not to, I'm not gonna say get divorced, but you might want to get divorced because men are proving to be unsafe. Full stop, period. Yes, I look forward to talking to you guys in the comments, and ciao for now.